money, money, money. Money, money, money. We got that Fly Nubian money. We talk about that money. We all about that money. Money, 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 money. We got that Fly Nubian money. We talk about that money. We all about that money. We love our black skin, our melanin, always focusing in on that money. We always win, money never thin, 'cause we hustling, always focusing in money, 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 money. We got that money, 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 money. We that Fly Nubian money. Boss talk, don't it? We stack it up.
Hey. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. I'm Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood. And today we lost a queen already. It's gonna be a good day, a good morning, a good. How are you today, Renee?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. Got a little sore throat, but I'm here. Happy to be here.
All right, it is Monday morning, y'all, and it's been an interesting morning thus far. One of my queens just disappeared, and I got another queen on the sick and shut in. We are, I'm running the ones and twos and hosting today, so I just want to jump into this conversation because I think it's important to have. Today, we are talking about something that we are consuming every single day, from lab grown meat to genetically modified fruits to chemically engineered weed, which I'm not taking in the weed. I'm just saying, more and more we are getting used to eating things that are engineered instead of grown naturally. It might be cheaper. Now, most people are getting these things because they are cheaper. It might last longer because of the preservatives, and it might look better, but overall for our bodies it is not good for our bodies, our focus, and our ability to perform. And so I wanted to have a conversation around this today. It's like, what are we eating, y'all? What are we taking into our bodies? What are we and how is it affecting our everyday lives? Is cheaper better? Is lasting longer better? So we're going to break it down today to the very last compound. And I want to start just, well, I have queens. I do. I have queens wherever Marlo went. She's coming back, I'm sure. But until then, I have Marlo Layson, who's a TV and film producer, and I have Renee Williams, are you CEO of Tricycle Sync?
Yes.
Okay.
Health
Who is
advocate and CEO.
CEO of tricyclesync.com. How are you today, Renee?
I'm good. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you for bringing me out here. I know I've been gone for a little bit, but I'm here.
Well, we are glad to see you. So tell me, with you being, a clinical research strategist and kind of having, to me, when I think of it, that's kind of like, maybe not, but it's you've worked in healthcare, yes? Or did I
Yes.
just make that up? Have you
Well,
worked in healthcare at all? You're a scientist, right?
right. In clinical
Ish.
research, I was working in clinical research with the pharmaceutical companies, biotech. So I was not like at the
Okay.
hospitals, but I was on the research side. Yeah.
Right. And so I just want to get okay. So just so that we know that, what were your initial reactions when you heard this story in particular, and what does it make you think of? Like, how do you feel about it?
Well, thank you for asking. I just would, first of all, I believe it because, well, I love Impossible Burgers, but then when I started doing the research, did you know that there's 21 ingredients in the Impossible Burger compared to one ingredient in beef in a hamburger? So, when you start thinking about, oh, consciousness, I'm trying to be healthy and do all of these things, but it's really affecting us. And they're doing these shortcuts and this cheap imitation and lab grown things, that is definitely affecting our health in the long term. They haven't had enough studies yet to come out about what's going on because this is all like a new concept, not a very new concept, but they're pushing it more. So, you know, when you compare 21 ingredients to an Impossible Burger and think that you're healthy when you can just go get your beef for one ingredient, and that's what beef. So yeah, this is I'm glad that we're having this topic because, you know, we need to be very alert. And then back now talking about the cannabis because I know some people who, oh, I got 21.
Before we get to cannabis, it's just our initial warm up. What did you think? We're gonna get into the weed. We're gonna talk
Okay,
about it.
okay.
You ready though? I love that she's ready. She ready, Marlo. She ready. Marlo, what were your initial thoughts around this topic, around what we're eating? Let me know.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all, right? And I think that sometimes if you look at what you're eating, especially if you're eating fast food, the lower grade fast food things, you can tell that you're not eating meat. You can tell that this is not the beef that I've enjoyed for most of my knowing life. So I don't like it. You keep it. I eat
Yeah.
vegetables.
Yeah, yeah. But it's so interesting because Renee brought up like Impossible Burger and it having 21 ingredients. It's so funny because I remember thinking one of my friends, it was vegan for a little bit and she was eating Impossible meat, and I was just like, but what is that? Like, is it vegetables like grounded up into a burger? Like, what is it? It's
I don't even
chemicals,
like that it's called impossible, right? I don't
right?
even like that the name has this like weird air of mystery to it. I don't want impossible food, y'all. Just the protein is fine,
It's
right?
just it's just but it's crazy because a lot of people are like, well, I mean, we gotta buy I'm coming to you, Renee. A lot of people say like, well, we gotta buy cheaper food, or because healthy food is so expensive. And I always tell people like, okay, but when you get that doctor bill, it's gonna be so
More
expensive, right?
expensive. Yeah.
So what do you think about that, like us taking the short cut and getting cheaper foods just to kind of like just be full now and then and paying for it later.
Um, it's back to when we had the podcast about the clothes where we go buy the cheap clothes, but we have 50 items or outfits that are cute at the moment. Well, that's the same thing we're doing. We want it fast, we want it quick, and then so we're buying this cheap stuff, put it in our bodies, and we want it fast, we want it quick, and that's what they're giving us. And I think we don't think about the after effects because right now, I know when I was in my 20s, I could have 5 course meal and then have some ice cream. I can't do that today. You see what I'm saying? So as we think about our bodies and think about what we're putting into our mouths, we have to be conscious. I believe we should be more conscious about it and not have that fast, quick solution. Because
Mhm.
at the end, it will catch up
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
hospital.
Yeah. There's a lot of things being promoted, Marlo, as healthy, right? So, well, I went, one of my favorite things is like honey bunches of oats, right? As for breakfast, right? And I'm like, oh, but this is healthy. It's either that, I'm like, this is a healthier version of honey bunches of oats, right? And so one day I was watching a video, of course, something popped up in my timeline and it was like, do you know what cereal is killing you? Honey bunches of oats. If you look on the side, it says bioengineered. And so I went and picked up my honey bunches of oats. They are right there, and I never picked them up again. I saw it. It said, "This is a bioengineered product, something, 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 something." And I was like, "So how do we know like what's healthy or not?" Because at this point, even like I think I read last week, and I've been doing so much research on this, y'all. So we're gonna have a whole conversation. But even the things that says natural flavoring, natural ingredients have over 100 ingredients to make it natural. So like and healthy. So Marlo, like how do you feel about that? Like how can we get around that? How should we approach that?
You know what I've learned as I've been on this journey with like changing the way I eat, and y'all know I was looking toward a bodybuilding competition, but in changing the way that I eat, like really trying to make a permanent change. If it doesn't taste like cardboard, it really isn't. You shouldn't be eating it, right? Like that's it. If you bite into something that's like, oh, this is so, it's bad for you. That's basically the golden rule. Aside from like fruit, right? Like even certain fruits are like kind of too sweet. You should share with a friend, but um if it doesn't taste like cardboard, it's really, you should, it's not fit for your consumption. You're enjoying it, right? But you shouldn't be. And that's really the rule, and that's the best way I could put it, because the enhancers, right? Color enhancers are all additives. If you juice something on your own, you'd be like, what color is this? That's why people always add reds and oranges, so that, or reds and greens,
Yeah.
so that juices can look more like what we've been trained in the grocery store that they look like. Because when you just juice at home, you be like, well, what kind of, I don't want to drink this, like, because it doesn't look like anything that you necessarily would want to drink. So I think it is going to be a matter of changing your mindset, finding things, natural sweeteners. I love honey. I love agave, like stuff like that, where you can use it yourself. You can use it at home. Maybe use turbinado instead of processed sugar, so that you can have a little something close to what you like. But healthy ain't nothing like what you used to eat in the over the counter foods.
Well, you know what? I'll say this, and I'm gonna come to you in a minute, Renee. Before I go to the video, it feels like when we were younger, things were a little less processed. So it was like growing up in the '90s. I remember I used to walk into a meat market. My grandmother used to send me to, excuse me, she used to send me to a grocery store to pick up her cigarettes with a note. And when I got in there, it's, we used to have to get like certain meat. She had a list that we put, and I would go and basically, DoorDash for my grandma at like, 9 years old, right? So when we used to go in there though, we would pick up meats, and it actually like smelled a certain way in the meat market, but it was like real meat. And I feel like there was less additives in foods. I feel like even penny candy, you enjoyed it, yes, but it wasn't like candy now where it'll almost kill you. I feel like it just feels like now for mass consumption, they're changing. What I'm noticing is they're changing like the chocolate to be like a cheaper chocolate. I think just recently somebody came out, one of the previous owners of Reese's said that it's not the original recipe. It's not the original recipe. It's not what his family built. Now they use like a processed like chocolate, or like a fake chocolate, or a lab chocolate, or something like that. That's not. So I just think that transition has happened too, where people are looking to like mass produce things and spend less money. Renee, what do you think about that? Like, if that's it. Like, I think that's what's happening. At least like, you go back 20, 20, 30 years, woo, 20, 30 years, it felt like, there was a more holistic way or approach to make food, and they cared about us. What do you think about the way they mass produce food now?
Right. So the question is, though, are they really saving money? Because what they're doing to take to mass produce, they are um, it really costs more money. I don't know about the process of what it takes in, but I have read that it does cost more money, and it's releasing more gases and all these other harmful things into the environment to make something cheap. So
Mhm.
at the long run, just like our health, um, mass producing, trying to get that out there. Plus, they're dumping sugar. I could just see somebody just throwing a big old bag of sugar in there and mass produce so it can taste good and people want to have it, like crack, right? And so I just think, if they're not thinking about, they don't care about the long term effects, and we have to care. This is affecting the environment and it's affecting our bodies. Period.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna run this first video, but I remember just recently. Listen, y'all, I take deep dives into all of this, and I'm constantly trying to get my 15-year-old on board. She is not on board quite yet, but I'm always like, "Do you know what 65 grams of sugar looks like?" And there's like this, there's this these videos on TikTok that'll show you like, here's what they'll like have a Gatorade, and then show you 65 grams of sugar, and it's like sugar all the way up here to go into this small bottle. And so I just think that's so interesting, that it's so sneaky, right? Like you just be like, it's fine, it tastes good, it's fine, it's this not sugary, but it's really sugary. So let's run this first video, and we'll get back into the discussion. But I, it
There's
this
one
makes
term on meat labels that most people have no idea even exists. With more bioengineered chicken and beef hitting grocery shelves, it's crucial to know what to look for if you want real, high quality meat. They're not going to slap words like lab grown or synthetic on the package. Instead, they'll use language that sounds natural or harmless, but is designed to mislead. The key term to watch out for is cell cultured. Yes, U.S. lawmakers have already legalized it, and the USDA has approved labels like cell cultivated chicken and cell cultivated beef. This is how lab grown meat is being presented as acceptable food, but let's be clear, this is not traditional meat. It's produced in a lab from animal cells in a bioreactor, never part of a living, breathing animal. So next time you're shopping, read labels carefully. Look for terms like cell cultivated, cell based, or grown from animal cells. If you spot these, put it back. If this helped you, drop a jewel.
Yeah. Yes, y'all. So, one of the things that I've been doing lately, I've been kind of going crazy about it, but one of my clients that I've been working with was like, he's a nutritionist. One of his ways of healing is nutrition, and he told me to download, one of the apps that tells you exactly what I download. Bobby approved app, Bobby approved app, and basically you go into the stores, and when you're in there shopping, you scan the label and it tells you all the ingredients. Also on in the app, it has like a dictionary, or a glossary of all of what the ingredients are and how it affects your body. And so that's one of the things. I don't know where Marlo just went, but that's one of the okay. That's one of the things that has been a lifesaver a little bit for me, where I'm just like, I was in the line the other day, and I saw somebody in front of me. They had salmon, right? Like these little salmon croquettes. And I was like, oh, I wonder what's in that. Because I'm having issues, because 90% of the store, when you scan it, is thumbs down. It gives you a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And so I was like, can I scan that salmon to see what's in it? And he was like, yeah. He handed it to me. I scanned it, and it told me all the things that was in it. He was like, because he was selling me on it, like it's so good, it's so healthy. And then when I was like, oh, it gave me a thumbs down, he was like, wait, let me see. He ended up putting the salmon back, y'all. So I was like, well, I didn't mean to mess up your dinner, like what you was on to have. So that's one of the ways that I've been trying to combat, because I don't know. You don't know. You think that, they use this language that doesn't sound like sugar, sugar and more sugar, or salt, sodium and more glucosamine. You don't know what you having, right? So I wonder, Marlo, what is your biggest concern for lab grown food, for fake fruits? Because we're going to get into fake fruit in a second, but what is your biggest concern for that?
My biggest concern is that it sounds like a game anybody could get in, right? It sounds like a game anybody can get into. Any lab that can figure out the technology can grow it, which leaves even less oversight than the current lab grown meat, right? Anybody can slap any label on anything is what I'm thinking about. To In terms of licensing and the FDA and the USDA and all of these other agencies, once you get approval, right, the approval process doesn't have anything to do with quality of meat. Obviously, they're not looking at long term, is this good for your intestinal, your constitution, and all of these things. They're not thinking about that. They are you meeting these criteria so that we can slap a USDA sticker on your processing or your lab, your factory, whatever it is. And so I just think about anybody being able to do it in the age of AI and the way our government is pushing AI. I worry about any kind of labs being able to get this meat into people's homes, being able to sell this meat online potentially as a distributor. I just feel like in our America, where everything is for sale and everything is a producible good and something that people can make money off of. That's what I worry about. I worry about this becoming the way that butt injections were and the way Botox was, right? It something that could be delivered even cheaper than the cheapest high grade version of the product. And so I think that's probably my biggest concern is who gonna get sick first and how egregious is it going to be when we see the lab on the news and there's fungus on the walls and mold and the building looks condemned where the meat being produced and we all collectively gas, but it's gonna be popping up because anything to make money.
Yeah, I think I mean, my biggest concern is that people are. I mean, I think we're seeing it daily. People are getting sick. Cancer, more cancer cases, and the thing, people are getting sicker younger. It's just, I feel like that is directly from the food. What about you, Renee? What is your concern?
Right. It is directly
What is
from
your
the,
concern
whatever
about
you
the lab
put,
grown meat and the bacon?
right, whatever you put in your body is going to manifest, right? So uh, it is very alarming and concerning. But as we were talking about, it's going to be popping up on the news. It goes, who controls the news and who controls what's going on? So, no, it may not pop up on the news because uh, they don't want us to hear about all what is really destroying the society. And then it feeds into a loop, right? So they give us this stuff, this fast processed food. We're not checking the labels. We're putting it in our body. And then guess what? We're going to the doctor and then they slap us a nice fat bill on the table. So it's just a circle that they're getting paid at all different fronts.
Yeah. I want to know from the chat, I want to know what your concerns are. Are you seeing lab produced meat? Are you struggling like I'm struggling in terms of like going in and thinking you're buying grapes, but there's no seeds? A watermelon that has seeds, but watermelon is not in season. So this can't be real, but it looks real. Y'all, I've been really, really struggling with food for at least the last couple months. Like getting anxiety so much so that I have a coach now, but having anxiety around like when I go into a grocery store, like I don't even know what to eat at this point. I'm scanning, right? I have that. And so it's like I think I had some organic eggs approved and I was like, okay, well, we're gonna eat eggs, right? So every day that my friends have been making fun of me, like, what, you about to eat some eggs? I'm like, yup. Until further notice, until I know what else I can eat. And I know that there should be a balance, right? I'm coming to you, Marlo. There should be a balance around being able to having enjoyment of life. But I think every week we're having these conversations about how everything, the fabric on our skin, like Renee said, the toxins in our shampoos, the in your grease, in your whatever it is that you do, the candles that you light, I mean, it really is everything. So how do we not drive ourselves crazy and really like have this anxiety around what we're eating? Marlo, what do you think is the answer to that?
I think you got to pick your battles, right? I think you have to choose where you're going to turn a blind eye, or you got to completely indulge your lifestyle in that, right? You have to say, I only get these particular goods from this place because they are on the checklist. And the same for my foods and the same for my clothes. Like, you either have to be super disciplined about who you shop with and how you spend your money, or you have to turn a blind eye to some of these things are killing me. Me in particular, that's what I do. I try to find there are farmers markets, and then the local farmers sell goods on certain days of the week on their farms, right? And there
Mhm.
are urban farmers like within the city limits, so it's not like I'm driving out to the country.
Yeah.
But you have to do that sort of thing. You have to find farmers markets, buy things direct from the farmer. That's also helping your community. Maybe you want to shop at a boutique. Maybe there's somebody in your town that repurposes clothes, right? I know a few seamstresses here who do things like they're like, hey, bring your clothes. We're going to repurpose them and then we're going to sell them for cheap back to the people, right? And they go in, they redesign, they make cute stuff. You like it, you pick it up. I think that we have to get back to local, and that's something that we've gotten away from. Everybody want to be the biggest and the largest, and I'm from coast to coast, I'm from border to border. You got to get back to just being in Sacramento, right? It's good enough to just be the local boutique in Shreveport, right? You the biggest grocer in New Orleans, you home base there, right? You the bakery in Nashville. I think that we have to get back to that. We have to get back to serving a local community and having that be enough. But the problem is, we're blinded by capitalism, and we see people who got their names on building pop up all over the country. That's not good for us. In terms of mass production, it's actually terrible. I know I always bring her up, but I'm gonna always shout out Tamika Brock. Is not Women's History Month ain't over yet. She created a hair care formula, and she had a huge deal. I used to work for her years ago. She had a huge deal on the table with Target, and she turned it down because mass production meant that this formula that she created to help women's hair growth process would be changed. It would have to be altered. It have to be watered down. And she didn't want to put a changed product that she felt like her customers wouldn't notice the difference. And we have to get back to that. Business have to be okay with being big enough for here, right? And serving this loyal audience. And we looking for audiences all over the place, especially when it comes to food and clothing and things that are having an immediate effect on our respiratory and our digestion and like our fundamental functions as people. And these things are harming them. And I think we have to get back to some simplicity in order to save ourselves.
Yeah. I this is what I believe, y'all. I believe that another concern I have, but it's also something that's just an observation. I feel like the things that we've been eating, the things that we are consuming is also contributing to like people harming one another, people clicking out and unaliving other people, just people losing their minds, literally, like losing their minds. And you'd be like, why did you unalive your grandma or your family or your kids? Or I'm just seeing that so much on social media. Tell me if you've been seeing that as well, y'all, in the chat. But I've been and panels, if you've been seeing like just so many stories that's like, that's so odd. Like, why would that person just click out and do that if there's never been an issue before? I just think it's in the food. I think it's in the things that we're eating. Or do you want to add to that, Renee?
Oh, yeah, I was just
Yeah, yeah.
wanted to address what you were just saying because I just found out that just like we had AAA, now they have whatever it is for people who smoke this new weed, I guess, that they're doing. It's similar to our AAA group. So whatever that is hooking people on this fake THC or whatever, and that they have to go and get some help, which is crazy because I remember back in the day, it comes out the ground, it was good, and they say because I'm not a smoker, but you got it from the ground. It was there. You knew what was in the product, but now you don't know what's in that product, and is leading people to go to these different groups to get help to get off of it.
I definitely think that THC, vaping, like all of that stuff. I think I saw something that said that when trying to keep the kids away from vaping because it seems healthier, but actually it's like 100 times worse than a cigarette. Like because of the chemicals that's in it, because of what was happening, it really can literally shut down your respiratory system and your. So I think that while it seems cute and it's marketed cute, like all of it is marketing, right? It feels trendy and fun, and it's like this is healthy. I wouldn't trust it because you gotta give America a side eye when it's like it's healthy, it's good for you. Yeah, because they used to tell you that cigarettes were good for you. So our ancestors, our grandmas, our great grandmas used to be like, I mean, my grandma smoked so much, like there was a train. Now at the moment I didn't even realize it, but as a woman now going back to my old childhood house, I wonder like I'm like, man, I bet it smells so smoky in there. I didn't know because it was probably in my hair and my skin and my all the things. And my grandma just smoked. She was a train smoker, right? But it wasn't a bad thing. Let's watch this next video, y'all, because I want to keep adding to this conversation. I think I'm always just so alarmed when it comes to the way things are being marketed to us. It's a
Look at these labels. It could be the difference of you being healthy or sick. Let me put y'all on game about these labels on produce. All organic produce starts with the number 9, and normally it's a 5-digit number. That's what you should buy. If the number starts with a 4 and it's like a 4-digit number, that is GMO. You should not buy that. Y'all have to stop being cheap with y'all food. And if it starts with a 3 and it's a 4-digit number, it's being sprayed with pesticide or chemicals. Please stay away from these commercial companies. They fill their foods up with chemicals, and they are able to buy organic labels and stick it on their product. Please share this video with anyone you love. If it starts with a 4 or 3, y'all.
if it starts with a 4, y'all got it? We got it. If it starts with a 4, if it starts with a 3, now that makes me want to go check my fruit right now. Just to see like what because we don't know the codes and all of the things. Marlo, are you checking your codes? Did you know that?
I didn't know that. I did not know that, but I did know the difference between certified organic and there's another way, because there's two ways that you can say it has organic ingredients or it is 100% certified organic. So I knew the difference between those things, but I didn't know about the code at all. Again, but you know what? I want to turn this on us. Y'all know I like to make us look at what we do, right? Mm-hmm. I remember a time when there was seasons. Tiara said it about watermelon, right? There used to be a time you wasn't gonna see bananas in the grocery store. Strawberries weren't gonna be in the grocery store. Now these things are available all the time, and it is unnatural. And some of why we have these lab grown foods and these lab grown fruits, as Tiara has been itching to get this train to the lab grown fruits, the fake fruits, is because of our demand as consumers, right? Y'all know I'm a native New Orleanian. I love it. I love being a New Orleans girl. There used to be seasons for the crawfish that we love so much. Now we to a place, people eating crawfish at Christmas. Do not eat crawfish at Christmas. It is unnatural. Like, part of this is us as consumers. We want what we want when we want it. We are so spoiled. We don't want to let life happen as it happens. And if you want watermelon on your Christmas brunch, then that is problematic if you don't live where watermelon is during Christmas time. If you want strawberries out of season, that is problematic. And so I think that we as consumers, we like to be, what about my health and safety? But also we won't shut up about our whims and the things that we want in the moment. And so I think that we have to also give credence to the life cycle and understand that things are sometimes out of season, and it's okay to not have, summer fruits in the winter. Actually, you shouldn't have summer fruits in the winter. There's something wrong with it if you do. Or you should pay a high excise tax, right? That should be really expensive because it should be coming from somewhere that's in the Southern Hemisphere. But there's certain conversations that we as consumers don't like to have because it points the finger at us as much as it points the finger at the greedy corporations that are making lab-grown meat and fruit without seeds.
So basically what Marlo is saying is we are addicted to convenience, and we should not be. We should understand that. I love that. I love that. The thing, you said something, and it makes me wonder because I don't know at this point. I don't even know when things are in season and not in season. Armando, in the comments, Armando grows, right? So I want to know, does anybody on the panel, Armando, help us understand when things are supposed to and not supposed to grow. I want to make this a full conversation. Like, I don't know. Do you know, Renee? Do you know the seasons?
I don't, but I always wait for, what do you call it, October pumpkins. I love pumpkin, whatever it is. But I don't know all the seasons.
Not all the seasons. All right, so we want to know. Does anybody know? Not necessarily. I know Armando probably knows
No,
because he grows food. But
no, I do
I'm
know for here, right? Because
tell me.
Louisiana is a strawberry exporter, right? So we're coming up on strawberry season right now. So they should be, I think the strawberry festival is coming up. The strawberries are being harvested as we speak. So it is a spring to summer fruit, right? Once we get into August, September, October, you really shouldn't have access to strawberries anymore unless they've been frozen. Watermelon is the same thing because in Louisiana, you'd have people on the side of the road selling watermelon. This is around the time, around late May, that you would start to see the men on the side of the road with the trucks with the watermelon on the back, right? They've harvested their watermelon. The watermelon used to still be dirty on the back of the truck. So I don't know all the seasons, but I think if y'all think back to your childhood, y'all probably have similar experiences where people sold fruit in your community at a certain time of year, and then there was a time of year when they weren't there. Those are the seasons.
Mm, mm. Okay, so I want to look at some of these comments, y'all. um, all right. Armando said that strawberry season is upon us, like Marlo said. Avoid seedless watermelon. That is a clue. So here's the thing. In California, like I said earlier, they have watermelon that has seeds in them. Like it's giving seeds, but in real life, it's not. I remember one time I picked up a lemon and was like, but it was a seedless lemon. I had no idea. So I don't even know at this point. There's more seedless fruit and like in our grocery stores here in California than not. It's something that I'm noticing. People in the United States overeat and don't have patience to wait for things to be available in season. Um, Armando said, "Who that they're gonna beat them Saints." um, okay, lastly, Armando said there's also special marks on food that lets you know it's kosher, hint, and safe to eat. All right, so Renee, how do you think that processed foods is affecting us long term? Like I said, we've already said that a lot of the things that are coming from the food, a lot of our health or a lot of what we think is coming, in terms of mood changes and just being off is coming from the food. But how do you think this food affects us long term?
It affects us. It affects us to a point where I believe that we won't function very well as when we get older. We have to think about as we're getting older, our cognitive brain, neurologically, what that's happening in our bodies. Uh, Everything is connected to food. And I saw someone say, grow your foods. I think if you have time, I would love to see how we could talk about that because that's very important that maybe we need to start taking back some of that control and grow our food. Because I know, like we were saying earlier, I feel a difference as when I eat something that is healthy, just a fresh, let's just say a fresh strawberry that's in this season, as opposed to eating something that is not in season. You feel it in your body.
Mhm.
So we have to be very cognizant of how we feel. And if we're not feeling good, uh, then we have to take note of that and stop for a second, take a breath, and figure out something for yourself and your family. But I think going to growing in California. Do you grow anything? I would love
Um,
to.
No, not yet. We talk about it all the time. We talk about it all the time on this show, right? Where there's things on Amazon that you can buy, something you can set up that'll actually like help you grow inside the house. Um, yeah, so I have neighbors, and I suppose I could just sit something right outside or just grow in here. Just little things. But we've definitely had lots of conversation on Fly Nubian Money about growing our own food. What about you, Marlo? Are you interested in the idea of growing your own food?
We've had a few experiments. I'm not disciplined enough, but we have grown a few vegetative items. We've grown some peppers and a couple other things. I know for me, I like the discipline. So if anybody has a little app or something that'll bing and be like, water your plants, because that's my whole problem. I could put them in the ground, I can start them growing, but once I get a little sprout, I get excited and I'm like, ooh, and then I forget that it's something that I might want to eat, and so I need to actually cultivate it and take care of it, and then they end up withering and dying. So if anybody has a little way for me to be reminded to feed my plants so that they could feed me back as they start growing, I'd appreciate it.
Put it in your calendar, girl. Just put it in your calendar. It's called. It's called.
Every
Just put it in
day,
your.
I don't know how often. You know, it rains a lot in Louisiana. Is it every day? Is it every other day? Help me, Armando. Tell me when to water my plants.
Yeah, okay. So, Sid, if anyone in the chat has resources in terms of websites that we can look at, that we can study, we'll share it here so we know exactly what to do and how to do it. Because I think, we all city girls, no pun intended, but and we don't know how to grow, and I think we should know. We should know how to grow. So let's go to this next video. Um, we're making our way. I know Renee has been wanting to have this THC conversation since the beginning of our conversation. So we're gonna talk about fake.
Cannabinoids are human-made, mind-altering chemicals that are sprayed on dried, shredded plant material that appears to be marijuana. These products are also known as K2 or spice. Synthetic cannabinoids are misleading and marketed as safe and legal alternatives to marijuana. However, they are not safe and may affect the brain more than marijuana. The chemical makeup of fake weed is more similar to the drug called bath salts than it actually is to cannabis. Synthetic cannabinoids work on the same brain cell receptors as THC, the mind-altering ingredient in marijuana. Synthetic cannabinoid users report effects similar to those produced by marijuana. Addiction and overdose are possible with both substances.
Okay, so y'all, I actually have something around this. I have a little cousin that I don't know if he was, I don't know. We don't know what happened to this day, right? But he was having, a smoke session with a few of his friends, and they gave him something that he's never been the same because of it. Like, when I tell you, we walked in and he was like staring at the refrigerator, like he had been in there for an hour just looking at the refrigerator, like, well, you okay, like, and he'll just have these like ups and downs, like where he's just not mentally stable, and he's not been mentally stable since. He don't talk the same. It's just so interesting how one time, using one interesting substance that you have no idea what it is, thinking it's weed, it doesn't even smell like weed anymore. Like, it doesn't even smell like, I'm not around people that smoke, but I'm just thinking like when it smells like berries, and they have fruits to them and all types of other things. Like, that can't be weed, right? So I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what he'd be thinking about, but like if you're sitting with him, sometimes he'd be like going off, and his eyes do this like it like what it they pulse. They like, I don't know. They dilate. His pupils dilate a little bit when you talking to him. I'd be like, okay, well, it was nice talking to you, So, does anybody else have any experience? Yeah, Renee, I'll start with you. So that's
Yeah.
our experience with fake weed, that fake something, fake substance. Tell me about do you have you or anybody experienced this?
Yeah. Well, for me, back in the day, my parents used to always say, don't put your drink down, right? So now it's like, what is in that weed? Cat Williams said this is that is, he just wants regular weed because he just don't know what's in it, and that's so sad to hear that because once they take something, they can't come back, and if they do come back, it's only for a brief second, and so we don't know what's going. And I'm not a conspiracy person. I try not to do, but it's just some things that you think about as far as what are they putting in that stuff. And all of a sudden now it's legal to sell weed so they can make the money and make you crazy. It's just, to me, it's crazy. It's sad. And then again, it's fast, right? Fast. I can have that hit. It's get $30, get a big old bag of weed or whatever they call that stuff. And again, what is it doing to us? And we can see what it's doing to us. And that's so sad. You can't have the quality of the life that you deserve to have.
Yeah. Marlo, what do you think about chemically enhanced drugs?
Again, I hate to be on the Fly Nubian Money podcast being like, it's the money. It's like, but it is, right? It's people's ability to just make money off of anything, right? Like, it's not regulated. Again, when the USDA and the FDA, from experience, I could tell y'all dealing with the USDA, there is more concern there in terms of compliance over what your packaging looks like than it is what your packaging says. Now, you go to the UK, they care what your packaging says is on the label, what it says that the product does. That stuff matters. Here in the US, you can put anything on the label as long as those ingredients on the back of that package are in the compliance specs. You pass. You're able to have your product out in stores. And I wish that the process was more. I wish it was more in depth. I wish states dug more in depth into what they have that is on store shelves. But it is, again, you cannot inhibit people's ability to make a little coin, and people do not care about your life. So if I'm putting this insecticide on here, if I'm putting this whatever it is, right, to give it the strawberry flavor, the strawberry aroma also makes you go a little wonka doodle, then so be it, because it's buyer beware. And I mean, that's the long and short of it. The minute that the United States government, that has been fighting marijuana since the 19 teens, since the jazz era, they've been fighting against marijuana. The minute they were like, you probably could make a little money off of it, go ahead, do your thing, I was like, back up. If you can't grow it yourself, you should not have it, because the minute that the government gets their hands on it, the product goes to tank, because people see it as an opportunity to quickly make money off of any and everything. They might be scooping that little grass up off the floor with a little carpet fresh or something. We never know. We do not know what the people are doing.
So, what are y'all telling your children? I know for me, I'm not using scare tactics with Lauren, but I'm definitely like, look, little mama, like, you have to be aware. I just tell her to stay away from all of it because here's the thing, like, at any point, she said one of her friends had a schizophrenic episode when they had weed. She's in high school now, y'all. So she said one of her friends had a schizophrenic episode. And so obviously that person was in 11th grade. And, something happened and, I guess they took a little, and they had an episode. And so now, obviously, she was just like, okay, well, I know I can't have that. Then we just had a conversation around it. I'm communicating with her, like, listen, it puts you in all kind of dangers. If you're somewhere you're drinking, you don't know what you're drinking, you just want to be cool. If somebody puts something in your drink, we don't know what's in it. We don't know what they've slipped in that thing. In terms of smoking, you don't know where it came from. So you can't just, having fun at a party or going out is not the same, right? You have to be aware and you have to be aware of what's happening around you. What are you telling Jay, Marlo?
Jade is, she doesn't really like the smell of alcohol. She just doesn't like it. She just like, she just kind of like that about it. And I think it's because of where she's from. I think it's the culture of New Orleans. People, walk through the second line, smoke a little weed, right? Everybody drinking. I think that she has just a perception of that type of revelry, just because it's been around her for so long. I know with my older kids, I was able to just be like, that's drugs. That is what a person on drugs look like. That is behavior of people on drugs. Mama, what's that? That's people on drugs. So that they easily understand. So then when somebody offer you something, do you want to be that person, right? You have those memories to tap into. Do you want to be the person that was acting a fool, barking at the moon, flipping in your underwear, flipping without your underwear, right? Do you want to be that person? And I think that a real life lesson is always a good deterrent. So just let them see that my kids' eyes aren't closed to too many things, but we also have very clear conversation about everything so that they're not surprised and that they have full understanding, because you don't want their friends explaining it to them because they don't know.
Yeah, exactly. It's the blind leading the blind. So when things come up, like I said, with her friend having an episode, I was like, yes, because now I can have a conversation around it, and it's close to home, but it's not in our home, so we can learn the lesson without me having to be like, oh my God, my daughter had a schizophrenic episode and she had tried weed laced with God knows what, right? So we didn't have that. We're still young enough not to have those conversations. She'd be like, "Ew, I'm too cute for drugs." Like, sure, like whatever it is that whatever, however you feel about it, whatever, cool, like that. As long as it makes you say no. Renee, what did you tell your son, or what conversations are you having with your son?
Um, I'm real quick to throw a newspaper in his face and say, see this, see what happened. So, and he's like, Mom, or like there's a research about what happens to your brain when you're smoking weed and you're trying to go to college and, study, things like that. So I'm always shoving kind of different articles on him, push him to have conversations with him. He hasn't had them yet, and he hasn't been out there too wild. But they get around their friends and things. But they he, he's now more aware, and that's all you can do as a parent, just make them aware, and that's what I do.
That's it. That's it. Yeah, I really want, before we go to our women's fact and final thoughts, I really, really want y'all to see this printed meat. Like, I just, in my soul, I just want y'all to see how gross it looks. Like, what is this?
Already a
What is
reality. Using a 3D printer, they print lab grown steaks that are almost indistinguishable from meat in appearance, texture, and taste.
y'all? What's that? What's that? And supposedly, a lot of the when I went down the rabbit hole, I found out like places like Chick-fil-A and McDonald's and Taco Bell, places like that are using lab grown meat, or they're using an infusion of real meat particles, and combining them with lab grown meat. So a lot of fast food chains are doing them, even if you feel like it's a premium. I don't know. I can't say nothing about Chick-fil-A, but I don't like any of it. It all kind of tastes weird. Um, so what y'all think? Y'all gonna have some print meat, y'all?
You know
Anybody?
what? You know what's so
3D?
crazy? You know what's so crazy about it is when you think about what he said. Right? It looks and it feels and tastes identical. He said nothing about nutritional value. What is the three? Because my knowledge of 3D printers, right, is that is plastique, right? And so George Washington Carver had told me that plastique is not for the inside, right? That's part of why I can't go vegan, because it's so much soy. My diet hasn't adapted 2,000 years to soy, right? So that soy is problematic for me, right? Because George Washington Carver said so. I'm gonna believe, if I believe what he said about the peanut, I'm gonna believe what he said about the soybean. But what is it is 3D printed out of what, y'all? That's what I need to. That's the pressing. Is it the same plastique that I was so impressed when the kids were making their class rings in an advanced school when I worked in the school district? Is it the same material they made Air Force One? The children made an Air Force One that you could actually put your foot in and walk around, but it was plastic. They was like, don't go outside in the rain because you're gonna fall. It has no traction. Is that what that little meat strip was made out of?
Of
Help me
plastic?
understand.
Is it made out of plastic? You know
Yes.
what? We're consuming a large
I
amount of
mean,
plastic every year anyway, because they're
I'm
wrapping
inhaling it
everything.
now. but that's not the point. Okay, I just said we got to make concessions for what we know and just keep moving on with our life. I know every time you cannot, don't reuse your water bottle that you got your Kenwood water in, because that's is emitting all of the chlorofluorocarbons. I know that, but what I'm saying is the meat exclusively plastic?
I don't
Is that
know.
what they're asking me to eat
Right? Maybe. I don't know
for
what it is.
flavor?
You know what? Let me see. I don't
Mistakes are
know.
already a reality. Using a 3D printer, they print lab grown steaks that are almost indistinguishable
I don't know
from
what is.
meat
What is
in
that?
appearance, texture,
That's the
and
pink
taste.
goo.
What's the gum? It's the gummy glue.
Yes, the pink goo of meat. It's the meat goo.
Now you're asking what is this? It's
Yes,
I don't know.
It doesn't
Um
look real.
because you see, they got the little fat fibers and the muscle tendon fakeness and everything. I'm look, whatever. I'm just stop eating meat. I'm gonna eat whatever Armando helped me grow. Armando, I need you.
y'all. Okay. Okay. All right. So there's 3D printed meat, y'all. Renee, do you have anything to add it to the printed meat? We go get ready to get up out of here. Any thoughts on the 3D printed meat? The
It
plastic.
does not look appetizing at all. Mm-mm. No, it's not
Well,
good.
here's the thing. I wonder if like in 20 years we'll know the difference. It's kind of like knowing AI in 20 years, right? To our eyes, it doesn't look real, but to our children's and our children's children, especially with the introduction of more and more lab produced meat, cultured meat, as they put it, will they be able to tell the difference? And I wonder what we should start telling our children now about food in general, food about, not just weed, right? It's like, no, say no to drugs. But if the meals, if the food is having the same effect, then what should we tell them? I know my daughter be like, I'd be like, what's in that Gatorade? She'd be like, I ain't never cared. I'd be like, you know what I mean? Like when I drive my daughter crazy at this point. I'd be like, "Oh my god, it's causing cancer." She'd be like, "Mom, oh my god, can we please just have it anyway?" I'd be like, "Okay, listen, well, this is what we're gonna," like we negotiate, but she doesn't see the severity of it, right? She doesn't see the importance of, especially so young, so young. So I think that'll be my final thought for us, or final question to you. It's like, what do you tell your children, and how do you protect them from the really what we are being fed, and like what type of things do you instill now? I'll start with you, Marlo, and you can just also give us a final thought.
Yeah, I mean, she don't care. She None of them care. They gonna do their own thing because they know at the same time everything is killing us, right? You breathe in the air, you live in Cancer Alley. They're not super concerned with that. And it's more now like a joke for me to be like, that's made out of plastic. They be like, well, I love it. I wish it was crunchier, like
Yes.
just something crazy, right?
They do not care. So disrespectful.
They don't care. So I think my final thought is like, do what you can, right? Because you will drive yourself crazy, and then you will be the crazy person in the bubble suit, right? Doing your thing, trying to protect yourself from every single thing. You can't. You can make better choices. You can make choices that are affordable for you. You can make the choice that is the most sustainable choice for you and your family right now, today. And then tomorrow you can make a better choice. And that's really all that any of us can do, outside of realizing, like Tiara, that you can't buy nothing at the grocery store. Like there's nothing there for you if you really reading the labels and trying to live a clean eating life. Um, do what you can, and the rest, everything else will fall into place. And maybe over time, all these plastics we're inhaling, we will mutate ourselves and it won't even matter.
Where can people
um,
find?
you can find me right there at that Instagram handle that is on the screen. Go ahead and follow me. I'm working on a new little thing to keep us informed and keep us connected. So let me see that y'all have an interest by coming and follow me, and then I'll talk to y'all over there and whatnot.
And whatnot. Renee, what are your final thoughts? Like, what are your final thoughts around this, and how can people get in touch with you?
I agree with Marlo. Basically, we can't get everything out of our system, or everywhere we go, there's going to be something there and here, but we have to just have more, think a little bit more, and be more conscious of what we put into our mouths. So what I am going to do from this show is start going to the farmers markets now and start really finding some more substitutes. I'm a Trader Joe girl, so now I'll just pick up and look at more farmer solutions in the Black community, because now, we're giving into our Black community as well as giving to ourselves. And so, just being more aware. And if you're more aware, you'll do better. Well, I'll do better. My name is Renee Williams, and I'm the CEO of Tricycle Sync. And I just want to let everyone know, I know probably people are not aware that in 2025, the FDA, they have erased, um, they struck down the federal rule protecting reproductive health data. And so now your period tracker, fertility records, even your healthcare can be shared without your permission. So now, if you want to try to get insurance or whatever, anything, they can look at your medical records, and the doctors can give it to them, and it won't be a problem. So they're really uh, they're striking down, and they're taking our rights and protection from us secretly or very quietly. And so my company, what we have done, we have created a fertility and period app, as well as a maternity app for women. It is totally encryption and strong encryption. We don't even see your data. So we're trying to find solutions to make sure that you can convey what's going on with your bodies to your doctor, but it's also safe for you and private for you. So understand that we're not doing this to sell your information or do any of that. We're trying to get something so you can be better at what you can do and say to your doctors. So go ahead, try CycleSync, let people know, and hopefully we can do better because they're definitely trying to erase us at all kinds of angles.
Mm. Tricycle
Thank you.
tricyclesync.com, y'all. Make sure you check it out. Take a peruse if you want to, have your information and something to give to your doctors when you go to the doctors. Okay, so this is my final thought. As you can see, I just went and got a coach, right? I was like, I'm driving myself crazy, and so I'm going to get somebody that can kind of walk me through. And what has it's been so good for my soul. I have a list of farmers markets, actual farmers in my area, a list of where to go. Now I'm just much more informative. When I walk into Sprouts, I say, hey, I walked into Sprouts not too long ago and was just like, hey, where's your meat sourced? And he was like, oh, you can just go to the website here, and it'll tell you right at the bottom. It'll tell you exactly where we get all of our stuff from. I've been looking at organic breads, and there's a young lady in my neighborhood that bakes breads, and she charges $15 a loaf, but it's dense, and there's three ingredients as opposed to all of the glues and all the other things. And although it spoils faster, it just feels it just tastes better, to be honest. And so I know I've been looking for other people who bake, and just maybe thinking about baking my own bread. I don't know, y'all. I'm trying to figure it out, but just trying to figure out ways that the things that I really like and that I love to eat, making sure that I'm eating the healthiest, excuse me, versions of them. Um, Instead of going and finding meat markets and just doing my due diligence. I know it won't be perfect. Drinking water out of glass instead of plastic. I mean, just trying to really like adopt the things that I can for me, so that I don't drive myself crazy, because I was driving myself crazy. So we'll continue to have, I think the best thing that I can do for you all is, just as I'm growing and as I'm learning, I can share things. If you want more information as I learn it, I'm at Miss Black Hollywood across all platforms. Just send me a little DM. Don't jump in my DM asking me nothing else, But just, if you have questions about food, or maybe some of the tips that I'm giving, or that I'm being given, I can absolutely share them with you. I'm at Miss Black Hollywood across all platforms. That's MSBLACK Hollywood. And yeah, real quick before we get out of here, I decided that whether it's every month I'm going to celebrate Black people, I'm just going to keep the fact. I like it. At least it was, at first it was like, we going to do a Black history fact. And then in March it was like, okay, well, we going to celebrate Black women. And now it is the end of at the end of March, and I'm still like, I think I'm just gonna celebrate Black people because the sky is blue. So it just don't even matter. Like, we're gonna celebrate Black people just cause. My our woman history fact of the day is for Dr. Marie Maynard Daly. She was the first Black woman in the U.S. to earn a PhD in chemistry. Her research helped her research helped uncover the connection between diet, cholesterol, and heart disease, showing early on what to eat directly that impacts our long-term health. Shout out to Dr. Marie Maynard Daly. If you want to, you can look her up. But just think about it. I mean, we've been at the forefront of all of these things. I think Black women and Black people are superheroes in my book. And all right, Queens, we're gonna get up out of here. I thank you so much, Renee and Marlo, for joining me today. We want to thank the people, our people in the comments. Our people in the comments. Armando, Deborah will win. Anonymous, Sherry, Latoya, I see you, girl. The Black Lexicon. We love y'all. We love y'all so much. Thank you for joining us. We will be here tomorrow at the same time. So come on back tomorrow. If you want to get notifications for when we go live, text the words Queens to 87948. Let me bring that up for you. It's Queens to 87948. And y'all, we'll see y'all tomorrow. We appreciate you. Have a good day.